So I'm sorry it's been so long since I've updated you. I actually ordered the front brakes from through Summit, and they were shipped through a third-party website, and it took literally over 2 weeks to get them to the house. Summit claimed they had them in stock, whatever that means, but they clearly didn't. So I was a little frustrated with Summit on that one. But you know, like I said, it took over 2 weeks to get them here. So that's why the biggest delay of why I haven't had a major update since then. So this is new Lightning spec calipers. This is all my stainless steel brake lines and my two new front Lightning spec rotors. So we're going to get opening those. I'm probably going to start with the back brake lines because that's all I'm doing in the back is stainless lines. So that's an easy place to start without opening everything up and making a huge mess. As you can see, my shifter console is now in tan, and I tried to paint match the top of it, but I'm gonna have to get a different color. Customer bought it and is wanting it in the tan console to go in his King Ranch instead of the black console. So now the black console's sitting over there, and just transferred everything over. So a little weird seeing that in a tan console now, but you know, the customer gets what he wants. So we'll get to start on these brakes and get after it. Well, I ran into my first snag. Hopefully won't be too big of a deal. So I've got, this is my factory brake line off the 8.8, and then the junction, the T for the brake line is on the driver's side axle tube where the vent hose comes out, and then this Lightning brake kit has it at kind of the 12 o'clock position in the rear end. So the good news about that is my brake pressure will be more evenly distributed left and right. The bad news is I may not have a bracket or a spot for that to go. So we'll do some test fitting, see what happens, but hopefully it all goes in like it's supposed to. But other than that, I mean, the width is right, the going around where the U-bolts would be, everything's right. So and then the stainless hose that goes from here over to the frame rail is going to have to be longer than the factory one, but it all looks like it's workable and doable, but maybe not quite exactly bolt on like I'd hoped. Well, without struggling too much, I got the stainless lines installed in the back, so we'll take a peek at that real quick. So what I did here was I just reused my factory brake line to put my vent tube back in. I just cut off the hose portion that came out of here and went up to the frame rail. So no big deal there. And then the rest of the stainless lines, like I said, actually fit the axle well. You can see the shape's a little bit different because they would normally be going on a 975 rear end underneath a Lightning. And then up top, I was able to use my 12 o'clock position brake line support, which was, like I said, already there, and then I just put my line in there, and then have the T-junction just to the side of it. So that's what's going on there. And then went in my factory brake line holder there on the axle, and then there's the rest of the flex stainless braided lines, and then so I still need to bleed the brakes and all that good stuff, but and then on this side, since we weren't using this T-junction anymore, I just made a zip tie holder for this side of the brake line to keep it from moving around too much. So overall, it wasn't too bad. Not exactly perfect bolt-on swap, but pretty darn close, considering this isn't a Lightning. My stainless line for the to go to the axle was plenty long. You can see it here. Was plenty long, and then I just zip tied everything together. There was some factory clips in that area that held the parking brake cable and the ABS wiring together with the brake line. So I just duplicated that with some zip ties, no big deal there. So got the back done, and now we'll head up front and see what kind of trouble we can get it into up there. So there's my crappy stock brakes. You can see I've got some pretty good heat spotting there. So I can do it without so much glare. So it's pretty good heat spotting there. Anyways, so we're gonna get some new rotors put on, new calipers, and the stainless flex lines, and we'll get that done right now. Just like that. So, got new rotors put on, bearings packed. I used some stuff that I had in stock. Is some Mercedes high temperature anti-friction bearing grease. It's actually really good stuff. It's got a cool bright green color to it. Like I said, really good stuff, and had it here at the house. So I got my stainless line put in, and caliper loaded up. Everything's ready to go on this side. I still need to bleed the brakes, but everything's done on this side, and I'll be on to the other side. Unfortunately, my brake kit was missing one of my clips here and one of my hold downs there, so I'm either gonna have to get creative or wait for a response on the email, but it's not the end of the world. I got plenty of other stuff to be doing. So here's the difference between the stock F-150 brakes and then the upgraded Lightning brakes. So the Lightning brakes has a much larger vented section, much more heat dissipation potential there, as well as a larger, thicker rotor. Well, I say larger, thicker rotor, not larger, same diameter. But like I said, you can see there's significant amount of upgrade for venting possibility there. We'll get this side. This is the passenger side. We'll get it installed real quick.